is going?
Yeah.
Oh,
Welcome to the Take Two podcast, the podcast where we take two takes to record one episode of the No Cell podcast. I'm Billy with Home or Jeremy.
yes, sir.
We talk about wrestling for a undefined amount of time and put it online.
Pretty much.
Wrestling happened this week.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Uh, I guess we could talk about the biggest thing that came out. So, we're recording this on Tuesday, just after Raw, and um, it looks like Matt Hardy had his last segment in WWE last night.
Yeah, Matt Hardy is going to go somewhere after WWE. A lot of people are saying AEW. I really could see it, but you never know with him
Yeah.
at this point. And he said on Twitter, it's just about being able to lead the creative direction he wants and do what he wants in a wrestling ring. He's an artist, and wrestling's his art form, and he wants to express that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get more into it in a little bit later, but I had a pretty interesting way of writing him off of WWE. And then, also, speaking of more people potentially leaving WWE, the Revival, you said refused to sign an extension with WWE?
Not refused, but they've been offered extensions and not signed them. So it looks like their time is coming up.
Yeah. Do you
They'll
know,
be leaving soon.
here, I'm gonna look it up. I don't know if it's public when their contracts expire.
I'm not sure. I think it's like April or something like that.
Yeah, I can't find it. But, yeah, I saw last week that they had some cryptic tweets, and Brian Alvarez announced last week that for the second time this year that they requested their release. So we don't know when exactly they're leaving, but it seems like their time in WWE is shortly coming to an end.
And they'll likely go to All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, which we could finally get the Young Bucks versus AEW. Young Bucks versus Revival match that they've been teasing for like 2 years now.
You think they'll manage to have the Revival name when they go to AEW? Or
That's a
because
great
what they
question.
do have the trademark on is the Shatter Machine, so they could just be Team Shatter Machine. I saw someone say they'd go by FTR in AEW.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Then, whenever they hit the Shatter Machine, crowds could pop "fuck the Revival," and after like 2 or 3 shows, it'll start to become notorious, and parents will stop bringing kids to shows.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just about all the news this week. There wasn't really too much going on. It was kind of a quiet week of wrestling. Royal Rumble just
It's
passed, and
Yeah, it's time. The what are they? What's Brandy's dead faction called? The Nightmare Collective is no more.
yeah, that ended. I saw that.
I'm fine with that.
Thank goodness. They had what,
It
like
just
three or four
wasn't good.
factions?
They have a bunch of factions. I mean, there's a lot of factions in AEW. There's more people in factions and teams than not.
Yeah.
But just the Nightmare Collective was pretty not great.
Yeah, it was definitely, in my opinion, it was the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
Which I saw that Matt Hardy might be announced as the leader of the Dark Order.
That's what's been rumored a lot, and that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, his character fits that faction.
And he's a real creative guy, and I'd
Yeah,
like
they
to
can
see
do
what he
some
does
really
with
cool things
something
with that.
that has some pretty decent build.
Yeah.
It
So,
could be pretty incredible.
speaking of them, you want to do AEW or NXT first?
We're talking about AEW, so let's just go off of that.
Okay.
this was so AEW happened on Wednesday the 5th, as it happens every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
They had their televised show.
Yep.
It opened with Jon Moxley versus Ortiz of the Undisputed Era. No, the Inner Circle.
Yep.
That one. Yes, the Inner Circle. And Jon Moxley beat him and then took, I forget what it was, but he took a spike to his eye. Or was it him?
No, it was
it was Santana. He took his car key
Yeah, I was about to say it
and
was car
thrust
keys.
it into Santana's eye. And now he faces Santana next week in an eye for an eye match.
Wait, what?
He's facing the Inner Circle leading up to his Jericho match.
Mm.
And they put out a poster, and both of them have an eye patch because both of them have one eye messed up.
That's awesome.
It is.
Apparently, I'm reading now that Jericho said before the match that Ortiz had not competed in a singles match in 583 days.
Yeah, something like that.
Jesus.
It was like when Young Buck number 2 was in a singles match because Young Buck number 1 was hurt, and they brought up a stat like that. But yeah, Moxley is continuing his run through the Inner Circle. I see him winning at Revolution.
Yeah,
Although I wouldn't mind the reign of Jericho continuing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm okay with either of them winning. They've built up Moxley really well.
After that match, we followed it up with one of my least favorite parts of the show as a team best friends mark, where their theme song hits and I get excited, and then someone who's going to kick the hell out of them's theme hits, and I know that it's not going to end well for them, and it doesn't end well for them.
Yeah.
It's every week. Like, when I see Trent come out first, I'm like, oh, hey, he's pretty cool. I like him. And then Jon Moxley comes out and is like, oh, one of these weeks they'll get a win. We had 8 men in a match, and of all the people to take a pinfall, it was Chuck Taylor.
Yep.
Someday a team I stand will win.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they had a match with SCU, and SCU did win it, and then the Dark Order came out and attacked, and Orange Cassidy walked in the ring and was offered a mask, and he reached out to grab it and then moved his hands into his pockets and got kicked out. And then Christopher Daniels ran into the ring and the Dark Order retreated.
Yep.
After that was another dark moment for people I want to see get pushed. It's not even that. They're just people that I've gotten behind and stand. Britt Baker faced Yuka Sakazawa, who was a 5 foot, 100-pound woman.
Was she the new signing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was her Dynamite debut. I don't know if she was a new signing, but this was her first match. But Britt Baker ended up losing this match, which I didn't mind because it helped establish her as a monster of a heel here. Because after the match, she lost the match by getting rolled up going for lockjaw, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
But she got rolled up going for lockjaw, and then she put the Yuka Gimmicks teeth on the ropes and stomped on them and knocked the tooth out and then put lockjaw back in. It was a pretty brutal segment. I actually liked it.
Jeez.
Because kayfabe, she knocked a tooth out, and then, as she's described, she's ripping her jaw off with the lockjaw by using the mandibular nerve. So after losing a tooth and already being numb in the mouth, you lose your jaw.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, kayfabe, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. After that, we got the AEW has some like crazy star-studded matches when they want to.
Yeah.
We had that Hangman and Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros, Butcher and Blade with the Bunny match.
Yep.
Where the Elite do this thing when it's the Young Bucks and Kenny or someone else where they come out to the Being the Elite theme song. And it dropped initially, and Hangman just sort of power walked to the ring first. And then everyone else came out, and on their nameplate it says Hangman hates the music choice. It was pretty funny because it's a super cheesy song, and like Kenny's singing along to it, and the Bucks are all into it, and Hangman's just sort of pacing. And you remember last year where there was the picture of LeBron on the bench like 5 seats away from the rest of the Lakers?
Yeah.
There was points in the match where Hangman was like that, and the match ended where Hangman only tagged Kenny in ever,
Nice.
and everyone else was cool with everyone. But the match ended where Kenny was off the apron, and Hangman refused to tag the Young Buck 1 or Young Buck 2 in, and he got himself pinned. And after the match, there was an interview backstage, and Hangman was holding his title, and Young Buck number 1 and 2 came up, and were like, "Hey, what was your problem? Make the tag." And then Young Buck number 1, I'm gonna guess, said, "I would ask what's your problem, but I already know what it is," and took the cup of beer out of Hangman's hand. And then he, as they walked off, it was like a close up on Hangman's face. Hangman just pulled this pitcher up from out of nowhere and started drinking it.
Hangman is so awesome, dude, and he's like
I'm coming around to it.
He's like one of the most over things in that company right now. The crowd
He is an
absolutely
over
loves
thing.
him.
Yeah, this whole separating himself from the elite and not being sure of what he is gimmick has gotten me to come around on him. Because when he was just a hangman or cowboy guy doing cowboy shit, couldn't quite get into it. But now that there's a little more to it, and with I mean, I still don't like that. That's your tag team champion,
Right.
but I'm enjoying that it's slowly becoming a Young Bucks heel turn.
Yeah.
Because that segment was just, hey, you have an alcohol problem. Instead of trying to help you, I'm going to yell at you and threaten to take your prized possession.
He's got more alcohol behind him.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, Cody really doesn't feel like a member of the elite.
No,
I like that the only elite member that Hangman can tolerate is Kenny. It's been pretty entertaining. Anyways, after that, Tony Schiavone was backstage interviewing Kenny Omega, but Pac interrupted him, and he said, "This was supposed to be a contract signing, but you left Michael Nakazawa for dead. We'll see if you care about Rio," Pac says. He was standing next to Rio, which sounds terrifying. Pac is a monster.
Yeah.
And he's standing next to the child-looking woman's champion. And threatened to kill her, and Kenny agreed to a match. Oh, so I didn't see this segment. I didn't see anything past the Kenny match, but then what's his name? Pac followed it up by saying, "I hope you didn't think I'd put my hands on a woman. I'm not a beast, but she is." And then Nyla Rose put Rio through a table.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a clip of that.
That's her gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Joey Janela versus Kip Sabian match.
Mm-hmm.
It was a match.
There was a match that happened.
Yeah, that's a story that's been happening.
Sabian got the win.
Yep, Jelly Janela lost. And MJF and Cody and a belt and whipping. That was the next segment. There was a lot of whips. It was a long segment. Everyone came out. All the heels came out of the locker room to watch first. And then Cody's friends slowly started trickling out. And on whip 9, I think it was, Brandy came out. And it was
Jesus.
it was quite the emotional scene. And for some reason, people didn't get why Brandy came out, because she's been a heel with the Nightmare Collective the whole time. So there was a very small video of her saying, "I'm his wife. I'm gonna be there when he needs me."
That should be a given.
It should be pretty common knowledge, and it's not like she was a super out there heel either.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have needed to have been explained, but I guess it was.
That's that's sad.
Yeah. But yeah, Wardlow whipped Cody.
Jesus.
That was brutal, cause this was a great part of the segment. Dustin, after I think 4 whips, offered to take the rest of them, and MJF goes, "That's not how this works. You can't tag in." And then on whip 8, he handed Wardlow the belt to whip him, and Dustin was like, "Hey, that's not how this works." But Wardlow stepped into it and like instantly dropped him.
Gee.
That one was brutal. And then there were like the pictures of the aftermath. Cody got worked.
Did you see the pictures of his back afterwards?
Yeah, Cody got worked.
Yeah, it was. That looked really bad.
Yeah, he got demolished. It was. It did what it was supposed to. I thought it'd be more awkward and less emotional, but that was partially because I was just envisioning MJF just wailing on him 10 straight times in like rapid fashion instead of how it was.
Yeah, they did a really good job of drawing
They did
it
a
out.
great job with that segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was AEW Dynamite for the week.
Mm-hmm.
The other show last Wednesday was WWE's NXT, as there always is last week.
Yep.
Well, every week.
Yeah, every
It
Wednesday.
every single Wednesday, 8 o'clock. But the show opened with the Broserweights riding out in a golf cart with the roof with a hole in it so they could fit the Dusty Classic trophy in it called the Broserweight Mobile. Nigel McGuinness had this wonderful commentary line while they were driving out saying, should Matt Riddle be driving that thing?
That's a legit question.
It is. Matt Riddle was driving it, and Pete Dunne was sitting there with the Pete Dunne face the entire time. And they got in the ring, and Matt Riddle goes, "Bro, we won the Dusty Classic." And Matt Riddle's like, not Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne's like, "I never thought we'd be a tag team." And then Matt Riddle goes, "I just got one question, bro. How are the three of us going to get to Portland?" But after that, he got interrupted by the Undisputed Era. And they were like, well, you two clowns are ruining the tag division. We don't want to wait till Portland. We're not going to wait till Portland. Then Roderick Strong came out, and he was whispering in their ear. And then they were like, "We'd love to beat you two, but your loserweight mobile is in the way, and we got bigger fish to fry." To which Matt Riddle goes, "Bro, Bobby Fish just said fish. That's hilarious." And then he started singing, "How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish?" And then Pete Dunne got in the Matt Riddle smoke joke by saying the Broserweights were going to smoke the Undisputed Era, which I wouldn't mind. They've been a fun tag team. They're absolutely hysterical. Because Matt Riddle's, like, not funny, but the way he says everything, you can tell he thinks he's the funniest person in the world. And Pete Dunne's just standing there. And I feel like the entire premise of this tag team is just Matt Riddle going, "I can make Pete Dunne laugh on TV."
Yeah.
And Triple H being like, "Sure, go for it."
I just put the segment back up. I was trying to remember. Kyle, when the Undisputed Era came out, Kyle O'Reilly called him Matthew Riddell and Peter Dune.
Peter Dune. It was a funny segment. And
that's so much funnier than it should ever be.
I mean, part of that, it was a funny segment, and a lot of that's because that's really uncharacteristic for NXT. I was watching, I think it was a What Culture video on things NXT can improve on, and they said the only thing that NXT provides every second of every show is just raw adrenaline.
Yeah.
And it's pretty accurate, so, like, just a comedic relief segment like this is very invited.
Yeah, it was great.
It was really good. After that, Angel Garza faced Isaiah Swerve Scott, and he won. I like both of these guys. I think Swerve Scott has a nice future. I hope that they should just really stop doing 205 Live as much as it would suck to the Cruiserweight crew and just get them on NXT or do it out of Full Sail.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it traveling after SmackDown.
Yeah.
I saw Buddy Murphy said it's like being a local opening band, except instead of opening, the headliner comes on and then you go on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. After that, Dominic Dijakovic beat Killian Dane to help push him towards his... this was, I guess, a number one contenders match because they said last week's was, and then Killian Dane was like, "Hey, I didn't get a chance." But they will face Keith Lee and Dijakovic will have yet another match this time for the North American Championship at TakeOver Portland. Then the we got segment. Was this the first one? Oh no! Between the Garza match and the Dijak match, we had an Undisputed Era segment where they were hunting Tommaso Ciampa, and they walked by some guy getting his hair cut, and they were like, "Hey, have you seen Ciampa?" And they were like, "No," and they kept walking, and Roderick Strong was like, "Wait a minute, guys," and he took the clippers from the guy and was like, "You missed the spot," and just shaved through the middle of his head, and the rest of the Undisputed Era were like, "Haha, nice one, Roddy." This was one of the funnier episodes of NXT in a while. I think I texted you right after I saw this. You gotta watch NXT because the Undisputed Era is going around backstage hunting Ciampa, and it feels like a DX thing. And it did feel kind of like DX segments for a while.
Okay,
I wish they did
Now I
more of
remember this.
it.
Yep.
And I'm imagining in kayfabe, because they were like motioning to the cameraman to follow them, I imagine in kayfabe they like kidnapped a cameraman to do it. But anyways, after the Dijakovic match, they saw Kushida, and they were like, "Have you seen him?" And I think Adam Cole was like, "Do you understand English?" And then they started attacking him because Kushida swung at one of them. And then another dude stuck up, that I haven't seen before, stuck up for Kushida, and they attacked him again. After this, there was a Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor split screen interview where they were both there. Johnny made fun of Finn Balor for losing to Bobby Lashley 17 times in a row on Raw.
Wait,
and
what?
Said he'd drive. Yeah, he said that he wants the NXT Finn Balor take over Portland, because if it's the Monday Night Raw Balor that loses to Bobby Lashley 17 weeks in a row, then he's going to wipe the floor with him. And then he said he'd drive the NXT flag through Balor's heart. Finn Balor said that he doesn't have a heart and that Portland will be Gargano's last match.
Hold on, wait. 17 times? That's real?
That I don't think it's real, but
Okay.
that's what he said. There was apparently Mercedes Martinez defeated Casey Catanzaro. I didn't see that match, but it's nice to know that both of them are getting TV time. I think Casey Catanzaro should have been in the Rumble and should have done a Kofi spot, but instead we got a bridge.
Yeah. Didn't you?
Didn't I?
Do you know how long Mercedes is going to be a wrestler? Because you said she was going to end up being a coach at one point.
That was speculation. I thought it wasn't going to be that long, but I guess if she's going to be an on-screen wrestler for a while, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
After that, we got another hunting Tommaso Ciampa segment where Ciampa attacks the Undisputed Era, causing a brawl between the Undisputed Era and Ciampa, and then the Broserweights got out there, and it was 4-on-3, and the Undisputed Era still weren't dominating the brawl. And Regal came out and was like, "If you guys want to fight, you'll fight. We'll have a tag match in the main event," and it was a 6-man tag, Ciampa versus the Undisputed Era without Roderick Strong. After that, we got
Never mind. I was just going to say, who was on Ciampa's team?
Ciampa and the Broserweights.
Okay.
After that, we got a Cruiserweight Championship match between Jordan Devlin and Tyler Breeze, who I believe has not held the WWE title belt ever, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
I tweeted this while I watched this match. Tyler Breeze being back in NXT. Remember when Chris Jericho came back and didn't say a word and just lost on every pay-per-view? Like, remember when he came back and for a few weeks he didn't say anything?
Yeah, I think so.
And he kept losing on every pay-per-view, and that was part of his contract. That's kind of how this Tyler Breeze return to NXT feels to me, where he's someone that has credibility with the crowd, but he's just not building himself at this point.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Devlin and Tyler Breeze had a match. The numbers 2, 5, and 20 flashed on the screen, which will matter more later.
Yeah.
But, Devlin... So... At the start of the match, Tyler Breeze was like doing his pose on the apron, and Devlin did a sliding drop kick to knock him off the apron. After this, the
It was the Charlotte
Bianca Belair.
Yep.
Well, yes, but Bianca Belair was in the ring, and she was calling out Rhea Ripley for basically challenging Charlotte and overlooking the fact that Bianca Belair is still owed a title match at TakeOver Portland, which is before WrestleMania when she would face Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlotte eventually came out, and Bianca Belair referenced Mean Girls and went, you don't even go here when Charlotte got in the ring. And Charlotte went, this is champions talking back up to her. And they had a promo, and Charlotte and Bianca sounded natural. And Bianca was doing a bunch of great facial impressions? I don't know. Expressions, yes. She stole this segment. And we had Charlotte cutting a decent promo and Rhea Ripley being not great. It kind of reminded me of the Roman and Cena one where Cena was like, it's a promo.
Oh,
big dog,
Jesus.
That's just how it felt, because you could tell that Charlotte wasn't as scripted of a segment or a promo as as Rhea. And Bianca Belair just has a lot of natural charisma.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, Ripley says something along the lines of "We are NXT," and Bianca and her slam Charlotte into the mat. We got that Ciampa and the Broserweights versus the Undisputed Era match, and it ended in a disqualification when Roderick Strong just sort of ran in and tackled people, and there was a brawl, and the Undisputed Era won that, and and Adam Cole spray painted a yellow X on Ciampa's neck, like how Ciampa spray painted an X on a table and then powerbombed him through it. And they were holding him down, and I assume Adam Cole was going to hit him with the last shot or something like that, hit him in the neck with something, but the lights went out, and the 2-5-20 flashed on the screen again, and then Velveteen Dream was standing on the top rope, and he did a flying nothing and took out all of the Undisputed Era by himself, and was just left with him and Roderick Strong. And he was beating on him. He stood up while Roderick Strong was on the ground. He ripped his pants to reveal tights with Roderick Strong's wife, his child, and the Velveteen Dream on it. Started gyrating over him and then jumped on him and started hitting him some more. And it was a great way to get the Velveteen Dream back, and I am so happy he's back.
He is so good.
He's good, and he posted on his Instagram story. I think Roderick Strong's married to Maria Shafir, who is one of what the hell's her name? Shayna Baszler's horsewoman. And he put a picture of her on his Instagram story and said she was for the Dream.
That's
He's
awesome.
on fire. Yeah. And that was NXT. The Velveteen Dream is back,
Yep.
and this is a very good thing.
Yeah.
The Takeover Portland card looks like they might even have one more match, because I think they might put Dream versus Strong on there if they can build it.
You think they could do enough tomorrow?
I think they could give something to where they could have that match, although I wouldn't be mad if they didn't have it.
Let me pull that card back up.
And when I was, I told you before we went on that Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic had a 5-star match. They did, September 3rd, 2017 in PWG Battle of Los Angeles, according to Meltzer.
It's just, I mean, it's bound to be good. It's two big men bumping meat.
I mean, that, and they've had plenty of good matches, not only across the world, but in NXT. They've had multiple great matches.
Yeah.
They get put together a lot, and I thought they were going to be an odd tag team, but they're just sort of friends that are not a tag team.
That's cool.
Because that's kind of how this was built. Like, Damon Priest came out, and he was like, I want a title shot, and then Dijakovic was like, you're not going to get a title shot, I'm going to get a title shot, and then he beat him, and then he beat Killian Dane, and then when he was up at the ramp, Keith Lee came out and sort of dapped him up. So yeah, they're sort of building it as like a friendly contest, which I like. The other thing, you have the card up, right?
Say that again?
You have the match card up?
Yeah.
What I'm noticing out of this card is it feels like they're... I think Ciampa will probably win the belt off of Adam Cole, but with both the Bianca Belair and the Keith Lee match, it feels like they're putting them, the new champions, with two people they know can get a really good match out of them to help establish this title reign.
Yeah.
with both Diedrich and Belair.
Yeah,
It
I'd agree with
it's
that.
looking like a really good card. I'm excited for this show. Takeovers are always good. You always have the best takeover since the last takeover when you're looking for the next takeover.
Mm.
And I mean, AEW might be able to do the same thing. Have they had a bad pay-per-view yet?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I didn't watch the last one because I was working the weird schedule that I worked at that time. But I'll be watching everyone from now on. I should be at least. But they just... The thing with like main roster WWE pay-per-views is you don't always get excited for them because the last one didn't hit and they're so quickly after.
Yeah. And
Whereas NXT doesn't have that issue because every single takeover is absolutely phenomenal and they are spaced apart pretty well. Anyways, on to the main roster.
sure,
SmackDown happened.
SmackDown was a thing.
King Corbin is a thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of things on SmackDown.
Uh,
It started with, speaking of things, the Dirt Sheet returned.
yeah, which was a very good thing. They had their little Hollywood trailer for the Dirt Sheet presentations movie Once Upon a Time. Was it in Hollywood? Where was it? Once Upon a Time on the Dirt Sheet. That's what it was.
Yep.
Which was a parody of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
And they had Miz's dad doing his fight pose again.
Yeah.
Lance
It's
Storm
so
was in it.
epic.
It was... I liked it.
And
What did you think
then,
of it?
yeah, I mean it's good. It felt like the old Dirt Sheet,
Yeah.
which
Did Miz and Morrison open it, or did Miz open it by saying, "I'm the chick magnet, the Miz," and John Morrison said, "Still going with that, yeah," and Miz went, "I have a wife and 2 daughters. It's more relevant than ever."
yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was
These
good.
two guys are really charismatic. If you just give them a mic and some time, you'll get a good segment out of it.
Yeah, they're great.
I'm happy that John Morrison's back. I'm disappointed that they wasted him in the Rumble. I'm happy that there is more than one Rumble that he should be around for.
Yeah, and
Stupid Brock.
Miz and Morrison called themselves the top contenders for the SmackDown Tag Titles,
Oh yeah.
which the Usos came out feeling disrespected. And the New Day came out, and then Ziggler and Rude came out and distracted the faces, and there was a huge brawl, which led to the match of Ziggler and Rude versus the Usos.
This show needs some kind of authority figure so badly.
Yeah, it seems like there's a brawl or something every week.
Every single week. There's no structure here. It's like when when WWE 12 came out and I was 12 and they added run-ins and I was booking my universe mode.
Yeah, and every match had a run-in.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So, I mean, their tag match followed the WWE tag match formula pretty much to a T. Heels dominated for a while, isolating one of the Usos, constant tagging, attacking a body part, and then the Uso got in a hot tag. They started running wild, and then ended up picking up the victory with a splash. Then,
Yeah, did they look at the camera?
huh?
Did they look at the camera
I don't know.
on the splash? That's kind of their gimmick.
Oh, I just never noticed.
Oh. Well, Cesaro had a match.
Yeah.
Speaking of him, I think it was Mark Henry said that he's probably never going to leave WWE because he realizes that he has a very secure job and he can work 45, 50 years more in WWE if he wants as like a trainer, which is very true.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cesaro, as much as I'd like to see him go out and be a world champion somewhere, he's still going to be around to put on good matches that make other people look good. He'll probably never get a super push of his own, and he'll be around impacting
He's
the
gonna
next
be
generation of
such
wrestlers.
a good trainer.
Yeah. I've seen a story. Remember the greatest RKO ever where he reversed the curb stomp into it?
Yep.
They went to Cesaro to figure out if it was possible because they tried practicing it and never could hit it, and asked Cesaro.
Bro, he is.
He knows everything about everything in wrestling.
Yeah, and you could make a pretty legitimate case that he's the strongest dude in WWE.
I'm not even mad at them not wanting to push him, and I'm not mad at him not wanting to leave.
I feel like at this point it's been so long that it'd kind of be weird if he got pushed.
No one's ever truly buried.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Drew McIntyre got released and
Yeah.
just won the Rumble.
That's a good point.
They can do it, and I feel like at some point we'll at least get something. If nothing else, I feel like they can turn him into a semi-face and give him the IC title and just have him put on great IC title matches every week, and that'll instantly make that belt prestigious.
Yep.
I don't know. The issue is that Bruce Pritchard doesn't do a great job influencing that show.
Yeah.
Heyman does a good job with Raw. Raw has definitely become more entertaining since they let Heyman have input.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Heyman's a mastermind. So.
Yeah, everything still goes through Vince, but Paul Heyman puts things in front of Vince, and we get better shows than we did before.
Yeah, from what it seems like, Vince just kind of, as long as it's not like too much that he disagrees with, he'll usually sign off on it. It's just they have really stupid writers that present him dumb ideas.
Vince doesn't come up with the greatest things either when he.
Oh no.
Anyways, we forgot to mention that King Corbin took one of the producers and threw him out of the production truck.
Oh yeah.
Because they aired the dog food getting dumped on him again.
Yeah. So after the Cesaro match, we had
Corbin versus Roman in a steel cage at Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia.
Yep, King Corbin came out, demanded respect from the crowd, grabbed a drink and poured it over the head of a fan, said he wants one more match with Roman. Roman came out.
This is like Christian versus Randy without a title.
Yeah, it's like poor man's Christian versus Randy. So Roman came out, Superman punched him, and then said they'll do one more match, but it'll be inside a steel cage. Then we had Goldberg live via satellite from his home. They asked him who's next, and he said he wanted to have another run at the Universal title. And then Bray appeared on the Firefly Funhouse, and then Bray was just doing his usual gimmicks, and Goldberg interrupted him and said, "The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, you're next."
I feel so bad for you as a huge Bray Wyatt fan since the beginning.
Yeah, and Bray afterwards demanded, "Let me in," and then the Fiend appeared on screen, and that closed the segment. And I don't.
Just the fact that I can see Goldberg.
I would not
be
be surprised.
So bad.
We saw a report earlier this week that there is a rumor going around that the plan might be for Mania to do Roman versus Goldberg because they think Roman Reigns will sell more versus Goldberg than a Roman versus Bray match or a Bray versus Goldberg match, which I could 100% agree that they think that is their thinking, and that is why this match is Super Showdown terrifies me.
Oh, I mean, at least you're not a best friends, Mark, but then again, you actually get things to have hope about.
I mean, they keep doing Bray dirty, bro. Like, this is
Yeah.
his first title run. He beat AJ and John Cena in the Elimination Chamber, pinned both of them, and then lost to Randy Orton at Mania because there was a bunch of cockroaches on the fucking wrestling floor.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Where Randy Orton rode out on a sperm?
Yeah.
We could do a podcast dedicated to your disappointments as a wrestling fan.
Every
and
single
specifically
person
a
I
Bray.
like, they just destroy. Freaking Damian Sandow, Bray Wyatt, Rusev, Cesaro.
You should really watch NWA. Sandow is doing some great work
Oh,
there.
yeah. I've seen clips.
You should really watch just for him. But yeah, everyone you like ends up getting pummeled by the WWE system.
I need to just stop liking. Oh, Kevin Owens, but I mean, he's
Yeah. He's doing things now.
yeah, he's
I don't
one of
know.
the top faces on Raw. So
The
that's
difference between your guys and mine is that I end up liking like super low tier guys. I was a Zack Ryder, Mark.
good.
I'm all in on Team Best Friends. I'm huge on Dominic Dijakovic and Cameron Grimes.
Although I like Dijakovic. I haven't seen much of
Dijakovic,
him, but the little I've
Nah,
seen.
he seems like he seems like someone you're into. You like Goldberg when he's not old and beating young talent.
Yeah.
He's kind of like that big meaty man.
I
Believable,
saw.
he beats a lot of
Let me
people.
pull back up. I think he's like 35.
Yeah, him and Keith Lee are both pretty young, which is why.
Yeah, I saw Keith Lee. I think he's like 38, 39.
Bold prediction: that's a WrestleMania main event at some point in time.
I can see it.
Yeah.
So, continuing on, Daniel Bryan faced Heath Slater.
Heath Slater still exists.
I guess.
Sick. Can we get a 3-man band reunion with a Mania entrance? Feel like there's gonna be bagpipes.
Oh wait, hold on. So he beat Heath Slater with the running knee, and then did his little stomp thing where he grabs your arms and stomps you into the mat, and then hit the label lock.
I think it was WWE on Fox put up a question asking who is the best finisher in WWE, and Heath Slater said mine if they let me hit it.
Yeah.
Heath Slater's in a good spot.
Yeah. I mean, he
Like,
just
not everyone can be a main eventer, and he lives it up.
no, and he makes the most of his moments, and he's getting a check every week. So
And Vince trusts him.
yeah,
He'll put him in the ring. I think he had a match with Daniel Bryan when he came back, like right when he came back.
oh nice.
He'll put him in the ring with guys. I wouldn't be surprised if he did a segment with Edge if Edge was on SmackDown. Which it feels kind of weird that Edge isn't on SmackDown.
Yep. So afterwards, Braun Strowman had an interview with Renee Young, and they talked about his first ever singles title. And then Sami Zayn and Shinsuke came out. Sami called him a fraud, demanded a rematch for Shinsuke, which Braun Strowman accepted.
Does Braun have that title?
Yeah.
Oh, something might happen with it.
And then Braun accepted, said he would even defend it tonight. Sami Zayn said they would be tactical and smart about their rematch and would use their resources. So then after that, the Revival came out, and all four of the heels attacked them. Crowd was booing. I really wish they would just move on from Sami, Cesaro, and Shinsuke and Braun, and just they both need to do something new.
That whole Sammy needs to get back in the ring, but I don't know if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Which would prevent you from getting back in the ring.
That's a good point.
That's a good reason not to wrestle.
And
But I thought you were going to say the Revival came and announced that they signed a deal with AEW. The Revival came out and said we are all elite.
so then there was a vignette of Tucker and Otis preparing for Otis's date with Mandy Rose.
That's a good gimmick. I hope that works out. I hope the swerve is that there's no swerve.
Yeah. Then we had Sheamus versus Apollo Crews, which was a squash match.
Apollo Crews.
And then after the match, Sheamus went to go for another bro kick, and Shorty G came out and saved Apollo Crews. So it looks like that feud's still going.
Yay.
And the main event of SmackDown was the number one contenders match between Alexa Bliss, Dana Brooke, Carmella, and Naomi.
I thought it was Naomi's moment.
I did too. But
Feels like we're wasting time. Why aren't we building Bailey versus Sasha?
I don't know. And it seems like it's weird because like they don't ever do anything with Carmella, and then they'll throw her in these big time matches, and she'll win.
That's her gimmick.
Yeah,
The ultimate opportunist, Carmella.
pretty much. She's female Edge.
I'll buy it. She has one Money in the Bank.
And so after Carmella's win, Bailey came in the ring, knocked out Carmella, and then SmackDown ended with her standing over Carmella.
Yay. What if Carmella ends that reign and we get like Carmella versus Naomi?
I really wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either.
So on to Raw, which upon looking back at it was a show full of squash matches.
Monday Night Squash.
But the show opened. Seth and AOP and Buddy Murphy came out and just did their usual promo about how Seth's the Monday Night Messiah and yada yada yada. And then, just like what seemingly is becoming a weekly thing, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and the Viking Raiders came out and eventually turned into a brawl, which was later announced that the main event would be the 8-man tag match between those 8 people, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, the Viking Raiders versus AOP, Seth, and Buddy. After that, go ahead.
You think WWE would build up a heel Seth Rollins as the Messiah versus a face Satanist Aleister Black?
Not with that specific gimmicks, but
I mean, it's kind of their gimmicks.
yeah, but I doubt they would ever do that.
They wouldn't lean that far into it, but they could do something like that, and that'd be a solid Mania match, and Aleister Black needs a good Mania opponent, so I can see it.
Yeah. After that, we had Asuka versus Becky for the women's title. And Becky ended up picking up the victory, but the important thing was after the match, Shayna Baszler came out and attacked her, and I guess there was some news going on this week about there being fake blood. I don't remember seeing exactly what happened. I just remember that Shayna had like a whole bunch of blood around her mouth. She kind of looked like the Joker, to be honest. So I have to go back and rewatch it because I don't know how we got to that point. But
the important thing was that Becky is too short to ride in an ambulance.
Yeah, that happened later in the night. So then we had the Street Profits versus Mojo Rawley and Riddick Moss. Street Profits finally have a match on TV. They squashed Mojo and Riddick with ease. And then afterwards, Mojo went to go help Riddick off up to his feet, and Riddick rolled him up and became the new 24/7 champion.
Yay!
Which seems a little weird because they just introduced Riddick Moss last week as like, and then Mojo was saying this huge promo about how like he's protecting his blind side and like he's the offensive lineman to a star quarterback and yada yada yada, and they had no time to build this up. Literally 1 week later, Riddick is turning on him.
It just means they don't believe in him.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
So yeah, Riddick's the new 24/7 champion. Then we had the VIP lounge with MVP.
Ooh.
Who brought out Drew McIntyre as his guest, and MVP suggested to McIntyre that he's not ready to be WWE champion yet, and offered to help him. And Drew McIntyre took offense to that, so McIntyre hit him with a Claymore.
Fair enough.
Following that, we had Angela Garza versus Cedric Alexander, which was another squash match. Seems like they have a decent amount of stock in Angela Garza to start. He had a pretty good WWE debut last week, and then
he did win the Cruiserweight Championship. That was pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, down in NXT, he took it.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not canon, but.
And then he, got the win this week. So it seems like they're at least gonna do stuff with him until Andrade comes back. So
that's good.
Yep. Following that, we had Rhea Ripley versus Sarah Logan, which was another squash match. It didn't last very long. Rhea Ripley ended up picking up the victory.
Wait, Rhea Ripley had a match on Raw?
Hmm.
That's cool.
And following that, we had Bobby Lashley versus Ricochet, in which Ricochet actually ended up beating Bobby.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is
And
this why Lana's gonna leave? Is Lana gonna leave him for whoever he loses to?
say that one more time.
Is Lana gonna leave Bobby for whoever he loses to? Like next week, Lana's gonna pop up with Ricochet.
Maybe. I think. I mean, I think it was just more just to show that Ricochet could beat a big dude, so that
Yeah.
they're putting at least.
Some stock into him so we can buy into him.
Yeah, there's at least a thought in the back of your head that he has a small chance against Brock at Super Showdown.
Oh, is he facing Brock?
Yeah, he won the number one contenders match last week.
Ah.
Yep.
I see what they're doing. He's not gonna win that match, but
No. So then they had Randy Orton promo where he was gonna come out and explain what happened last week when he attacked Edge. He claimed that what he did to Edge last week hurt him more than it hurt Edge, and then Matt Hardy came out.
how did it hurt him more than it hurt Edge?
I don't know. That's a pretty good heel thing to say.
Yes, but you know when I smashed your surgically repaired neck with a chair, that hurt me more than it hurt you.
So Hardy came out and said that his history of the Edge is no secret, which sparked a Lita chant from the crowd.
Randy Orton take real quick though.
Yep.
The first WWE themed touchdown celebration in the XFL was the Randy Orton pose.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was a good gimmick.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, Hardy was just talking about how big of a rivalry they used to have back in the day, and how all of his hate for Edge disappeared when Edge was forced to retire a couple years ago.
Aw.
Randy went for an RKO out of nowhere. Matt Hardy reversed it initially, but then Randy went for another one and hit it, and then
Aw.
grabbed two chairs and hit him with a concerto, which seems to be the last segment and the thing that writes off Matt Hardy from WWE.
It's an alright way to write him off.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I mean, it's the non-traditional way where they usually will announce it and then they'll have one last big match.
I kind of like when they don't do it like that though.
Yeah, I guess they're doing it like this because he's still wrestling and is gonna continue.
Be somewhere else, yeah. And it gives you a return if he does want to return.
Yep.
Where he can come at Randall or Ann.
Yeah. So then we had Akira Tozawa versus Aleister Black, which was another squash match.
Akira Tozawa at least puts on good squash matches. He's
really good at selling.
He's quick and small and good at selling, which helps with your squash matches.
Yep. And then Raw closed with the 8-man tag. And Rollins hit a stomp on Samoa Joe, and Murphy ended up covering Joe for the win.
And we have wrote Samoa Joe off of WWE TV as well.
And so, I mean, there really wasn't much to take away from the main event. It was just a fun 8-man tag match between. They're all really good performers, so it was a good match and didn't really do anything to advance any of their storylines. It seems like all 8 of those guys are going to continue working together.
That's fine.
Yeah, I want to see what they do with the Viking Raiders after this.
Hopefully something.
Yeah.
They are big meaty men. They bump meat.
I like that they've paired him with Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens because it's kind of giving them. It's kind of giving fans a reason to care about him because.
They haven't had one, yeah.
Yeah, they were just like. They're just the usual NXT call up where they talk about why you should care about these teams and then they just win matches and they don't really have a gimmick.
Yeah, here's your NXT call up.
Yeah, so.
And they just ran through the NXT division. They didn't lose the tag belts in NXT. They surrendered them.
That is so
That's
awesome.
how dominant they were. They did that, and Asuka did that.
Jesus.
It was a good gimmick.
Yep. So that was wrestling for the week.
Yeah, them leaving NXT was actually really fun because they had a match with the. This was when the Forgotten Sons used to interrupt every match. They had a match with the Street Profits, where I think it was for #1 contendership or something like that, where it got interrupted and there was a brawl between the three teams, and somehow one of the Viking Raiders was in the ring and he grabbed Montez Ford and he went, ah! And then what's his name? Angelo Dawkins picked him up and they hit some tag move. And Ford pinned him while Dawkins counted, and they claimed that they pinned the Viking Raiders for weeks after that. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's wrestling for the week. You got any small extra segments for the show?
No, not really.
We did not receive any questions.
No.
You got any shout-outs to give?
Not off the top of my head.
Alright, cool. That was the Take Two No Cell podcast presented by a future sponsor.
Yeah, well, I'll get there
I trust
one day.
that you're going to go through and edit all of these with our sponsors.
Sure.
And you're going to retro sponsor all of our shows.
Once we get a sponsor.
I hope it's like 200 episodes in.
Oh my god.
I don't think there's going to be 200 episodes if a sponsor doesn't come along by episode 200.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it's fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need the extra income. So, it'd be nice, but
I'm not going to ever say no to income.
right. But
anyways, follow me on Twitter at IgnorantNetsFan.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at TexasHomeboy1. Follow the podcast at NoCellPod, I think's the at.
Yeah, follow me on Twitch at PoolBoyNight13. We are done playing video games for free, as said sponsors can pay me on there if they would like. I will be trying to stream more frequently. I have streamed Overwatch in the past couple days.
Mm-hmm.
I might stream 2K if there's interest, FIFA. When MLB The Show comes out and we have the Squad online franchise, I will run through the league with the New York Mets, and you guys will see it all on Twitch.
There we go.
I will dominate everyone.
Are you going to get MLB?
If it has online franchise, I might.
Damn.
Why?
Because I really want to play you.
Oh, the issue with it is it gets boring.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to buy it, I'm not going to. Yeah. I really enjoy it. But
we'll see where I'm at. It can be fun. I might try to watch more baseball this year. Let's end the podcast before we get over an hour.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, follow me on Twitch, Twitter. I can give you my PayPal if you'd like to pay me. Use my Robinhood link for a free stock. See ya.
Bye.